So September 19th is the date for not just watchOS 6, but also the release for iOS 13. And if your device is one of these compatible devices for iOS 13, you're in luck because you are gonna go ahead and get all these cool new free upgrades of list of features, of course. So it's been over 3 months now since Apple actually covered this on their keynote. And during the 3-month period of beta testing and all that good stuff, there's been a lot of stuff that's changed inside iOS 13. And since it feels like there's really over 1,000 features to go ahead and cover, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick my top 10 features that I know everybody will love as a quick overview of all the new upcoming things coming in these next few days for iOS 13. Let's first go ahead and begin and start off our list at performance. Yes, the device I'm currently going to be using to demo all these features is an iPhone 10, and it's somewhat of an older generation model. Now this iPhone is on iOS 13 GM. In other words, this is the final version of iOS 13. This is the same version that's going to be available on September 19th. And when I first installed iOS 13, I immediately noticed a significant improvement in Face ID. Apple says it's 30% faster and definitely does feel like it. But even applications launch much quicker than ever before, and the significant performance and speed is definitely noticeable. Other new performance gains is better longevity, battery life. As now, thanks to iOS 13, the battery is more smarter than ever before. When you leave your phone charging overnight, fast charging, the phone will actually slow down and pause at 80% and slowly charge up to 100%. This is set to increase the longevity battery life of your devices, so for future iPhones that you expect to have for over 2 years, this is a really cool innovation because that's going to allow the iPhone to last a lot longer. The second thing I want to go ahead and cover is new headphone features. As we already are aware, audio sharing is a thing that's coming to the iPhones, where you can actually connect 2 AirPods to your iPhone and share it to whatever you're listening to with a friend or simply watch a movie together. Now, it was no surprise that the AirPods 2 was going to have this feature, but surprisingly during this update, the Powerbeats Pro also have the same feature. So not just the AirPods 1, not the 2, but now the Powerbeats Pro. You can actually connect those 2 devices at the same time, and you can go ahead and adjust the audio levels separately. And if you happen to own the Beats Studio, originally when you want to toggle the noise cancellation, you have to actually press on the headphone itself. Well, if you have it paired on an iPhone that's using iOS 13 or even iPadOS, you can actually bring down the control center, 3D press or haptic press on the volume rocker, and you could toggle that right then and there. That was another feature that wasn't mentioned in the keynote, but got innovated. Now for number 3 has to be CarPlay. CarPlay has been significantly improved, and the overall experience is amazing. Not only do we now actually have a home button which gives your vehicle a nice premium look, everything is just nicely laid out. You got your music, you got your mini map, as well as direction shortcuts. But this latest version of CarPlay is more customizable than ever before. You could switch it to always dark. You could adjust it so you could disable or enable album covers if you want a more cleaner look. And something very cool is the new maps. For once, I actually find myself using Apple Maps more than Google, which is really rare because a part of that update, Maps now display street lights and stop signs. And I find this really helpful, especially when you're driving, going to a destination using navigation, because Siri, or the voice navigator, will actually utilize those markers and tell you to make a right at the stop sign or left at a stoplight, instead of the previous method where it'll tell you the street name and you gotta actually look for that street sign. And the majority of the time, some of these streets don't have visible street signs. And for number 4, Safari got some really useful tools. Not only can you now download files on Safari, but even this little scroll bar that's on the side, this thing definitely does come in handy, because now you can actually tap on it and control it to scroll up quicker or down faster. Which reminds me, for number 5 is the new volume HUD. This volume HUD was a much needed redesign because the previous iOS 12, you know, whenever you're watching a YouTube video or any video in general and you bring up the volume toggle, well, it's right in front of the screen, and that's really annoying. But now with this new volume HUD, whenever you're watching a video, it knows you're watching a video, so it's a little bar all the way on top. It's not really so much of in a way. And the cool thing about this bar, whenever you're scrolling on social media, and you know how those videos sometimes will autoplay, if you have your speakers on loud, you could toggle the volume rocker and immediately click on it and adjust the audio and drop it like it's hot. I speak from experience. One time I was at a hospital, everybody was quiet, and all of a sudden I get a stupid ad with this new volume HUD. you could just drop it and quickly mute it. So for number 6 has to be the new redesigned apps. I'm gonna go ahead and just give you my top 3. So for 1, the music application got redesigned, got an overhauled look, but they didn't just simply overhaul it, they also gave it some new features. One of my favorite features is the live caption or lyrics. If it's a supported track, while the music is playing, the lyrics will actually go along with the song, so you can read along with it, and you can also skip ahead or go back if you want to double check on something. Just unfortunately, something that I discovered at that time, I was subscribed to Apple Music. Now my trial ended, and this feature is gone. Even though some of these music, some of the tracks I bought, I purchased directly from iTunes, I'm really disappointed that it doesn't support this, as this feature apparently only works if you're subscribed to Apple Music. But if you're somebody that's subscribed to Apple Music, this was a really cool feature. The second awesome redesigned application has to be the Reminders. Reminders has a much cleaner layout than ever before. It's so user-friendly that I could definitely see other people finally using the Reminder app day to day. And then the third application that I'm really happy with the redesign has to be the shortcuts. But not only is it redesigned, there's also new features, which doesn't work on the iPhone 10 unfortunately. But if you have an iPhone 10s or another iPhone model around the same year or newer, you're actually given the tools to program NFC chips to toggle different things around your smart home. For instance, I've seen some people toggle like amiibos, which they could just take and tap on their phone and it will turn off or turn on the lights without verbally having to ask Siri to do so. Now my next favorite feature has to be console controller support. Yeah, you heard me right. This wasn't mentioned during the keynote, which I was surprised they innovated this midway through the beta, but now you can actually pair an official console controller like an Xbox One controller and a PS4 controller. And this works flawlessly. I mean, if you play a lot of mobile games, pairing an official gaming controller is like the best thing ever. You no longer have to buy some weird sketchy third-party controllers that are known to be uncomfortable or break. Pairing an official gaming controller on your iPhone or even iPad with iPadOS is just amazing. The pairing process is really easy, and you can actually check the battery life stats in the battery widget. Now for number 8 has to be the File Manager app. This was something that we always wanted from the past. I remember before I had to jailbreak my device in order to get a file management application. But now, since we now officially have one from Apple, it not only does the file management basic task where you can actually go in, dig in your files, and move stuff around, but I love this application because I can actually get stuff from my desktop on my Mac and transfer it to my phone and vice versa. It does all this with iCloud. And with that new share sheet, I no longer have to actually attach files to emails. I can simply just airdrop it from my phone to my friend's laptop, thanks to that new and improved share sheet. And for number 9 is my second favorite feature and innovation that they could have innovated on iOS 13. That was a weird sentence, but is silent unknown callers. I love this feature because before I had iOS 13, I got used to getting telemarketers, robocalls, calling me like 5 days a week, and that was really annoying. But ever since Apple innovated this, unknown callers will automatically be sent to voicemail. So if it's something really important, they could just leave me a message right away without disturbing my phone. But the cool thing about this, it's not just gonna send every phone call that I get to my voicemail. It utilizes Siri suggestions, in other words, like local businesses that are public, that are found on Yelp. If you receive a phone call from that, it's actually gonna ring on your phone. But if it's an unknown number or a phone number that's known to be a spam caller, it's gonna immediately get sent to voicemail. And 90% of the time, those spam callers, they don't even leave a voicemail, so it's perfect. The only phone calls that actually ring your phone are the ones that are inside your contact library and are part of the Siri suggestions, as well as outcoming calls that you made in the past. They are able to call back and ring your device so you don't miss an important call. But that's definitely one of my favorite features because, as I mentioned, in the past I used to get like 5 spam calls every week, and now it went from 5 to 0. And lastly, I can't leave it out, I can't forget it. We all love it, we all ask for it. That is, finally we have dark mode. It not only allows your eyes to have less stress when viewing your screen in a low lit environment, but if you're at a cinema, dark mode doesn't distract other people around you, but also has a lot of cool features of its own, because there's a few ways you could trigger dark mode. You could either do it manually by bringing down the control center, 3D pressing or haptic pressing on the brightness adjuster and toggle it right there, which is the method that I personally like doing it. But I love that you can actually have the option to schedule it for it to automatically enable or disable depending on the type of day it is, so sunrise to sunset, or you can manually set a schedule on a fixed time you want it to constantly shift. And it not only allows you to do that, there's also wallpaper support, dynamic wallpapers, which will automatically shift as soon as this gets enabled. And my experience with dark mode, I mean, it's been really pleasant. Of course, all the native iOS applications are fully supported for dark mode, but over time, more and more third-party applications will also support this dark mode shift. But as it is right now, dark mode has to be my #1 favorite. It just gives your device a beautiful look, and once third parties start innovating this, it's just gonna match the theme, making everything look awesome. But there we have it, folks. That was the list of 10. There we go. Awesome features that I'm sure everybody's gonna enjoy as soon as iOS 13 officially gets released. Feel free to comment down below which one of these features is your personal favorite. And if you want to add a feature to the list, don't hesitate. Also comment that in the comment section down below. And in case you missed it, if you want to check out 10 cool, awesome features that's coming to watchOS 6, you click this little card right here and go ahead and watch that video. And this video over here, that is a video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. They think you're gonna like it. Go ahead and click on it, check it out, and comment down below if YouTube was right. Now time to drink my coffee and see you guys on the next one. Cheers.